And I remember the nurse saying to me, she said, when I arrived in here, she said, "God, you look pale." And I'm already quite a pale person, so that was quite a statement to hear. And then I stayed there overnight, and then the next day they said to me, "You're going to have a family member around. We're going to have to tell you something quite serious." So really, when they said that, it's kind of started to sink in what was happening. They pulled the curtains, and one of the consultants then told me that they think I've got leukemia. So yeah, it was weird at first because I kind of didn't really accept it. It was like my brain was just thinking that there's something wrong. They didn't seem too sure either, so I was kind of hopeful that there was they made a mistake. I was really lucky that I didn't feel alone because I had such close family, and I had really great support from like the Youth Cancer Trust, where you get to meet other people who are the same age or similar age, but going through a similar experience. But what I did feel was left behind, because life had taken my plans that I had made and put energy into, and all of a sudden said, you can't really do that anymore. You need to be close to a hospital for the next few years of your life to have checkups and treatments and all this. And also I saw, I think, not so much because it was a distance, but my friends back in South Africa who were carried on with their life of going to university and making other friends and getting into relationships and all that type of thing. But my life was put on hold with just treatment was the main concern, and then from there just recovery. They realised that the treatment wasn't working, and that the cancer was coming back. And so at that point, they said to me that I've relapsed and they're going to have to go onto a different protocol of chemotherapy. And I feel like that was almost more difficult hearing that than the original diagnosis. And I just went to quite a dark place, and yeah, I kind of felt like I'd given up a lot of hope. I think it was about a month where I was being prepped for the bone marrow transplant, had some really intensive chemo and radiotherapy now as well. The chemo is called Fluoride, I remember. So it's just zonked me out for about a month and a bit, where I just had no immune system, just constantly had infections, and I was like a zombie. The 14th of August is when I actually had the bone marrow transplant. And then from there, it was then waiting, they called it day 0, and then there's the day 1 after and day 2. Each day after was waiting for the immune system to kick back in. And I was really lucky. I think my immune system kicked in only after 2 weeks, where it picked up the new bone marrow that was put into my body. But then they came with other complications, where I had graft-versus-host disease with leukemia. Because your immune system is the thing that they're changing, that means that your immune system is attacking your whole body. And so you get some really weird symptoms from that. I remember I was so itchy at one point. I just remember going outside and just standing in a t-shirt and shorts outside, just trying to numb myself with the cold. I just constantly rashes and things like that. And that lasted for a couple of years. The first way I came into contact with Youth Cancer Trust was, I remember seeing a poster in one of the day units you'd have your chemotherapy. So you'd go in the day, they'd have the nurses there who'd prepped all the chemo bags. You'd sit down, they'd set up a cannula, put the chemo in through the cannula after they've done your obs and all that type of stuff. And then they have other activities as well that were going on there to try and pass the time, because you'd be sitting there for hours. And I remember seeing on one of the walls they had this poster for YCT holidays down in Bournemouth with different activities, and it looked like loads of fun. If there's an experience that you've been through and no one else has been through the same experience, or they're in a similar life stage, they won't understand. I find where being around people who have had these similar experiences of cancer, you get to share a part of your life, which could be a very dark place, with them, but then also almost compare notes as well to see how did the radiotherapy affect you. And you're like, oh, well, for me, it gave me ulcers in the mouth and I wasn't able to eat for a couple of days. And so it kind of, and then someone else is like, oh, that did that for me as well. So it kind of normalizes it. And then at the same time, we're also then having these fun activities and being looked after and eating lots of really nice food. And so it's just building us up, emotional resilience, all the, you know, the well-being, all those type of good things as well. Coming on these experiences and being able to play songs with other people. I mean, you can argue that that is a form of music therapy. And like me and one of the other young people we're doing today, we were just messing around trying to do Southern American accents, playing guitar. And to me, that is itself feels like it's filling up my soul, and a type of therapy there. And I think Youth Cancer Trust definitely has an influence on that. You know, coming back every year, like I've been doing, and being able to live in a kind of a happy ever after sunny place for that week, and just chill out and de-stress and unwind and reflect again on past experiences or past symptoms, and then symptoms I'm still kind of going through, has definitely helped me in a therapeutic value. And I mean, I'm an occupational therapist, which I've decided to go into after cancer. So one could argue that my whole experience of cancer, included Youth Cancer Trust as part of that, has influenced my career and wanting to help other people and work with other people.